Welcome back, everybody. This is the thejonnymar, and I'm continuing with Resident Evil 2, the Leon B scenario. You'll notice I have a couple of plugs in my inventory as well as my shotgun, and that is because we are quickly approaching the point in the game where you can actually make use of those plugs. And so there is a room coming up that we are going to be putting those plugs into a little mechanism that is locking the door and preventing us from further passing on in the underground area of Raccoon Police Department. And since we have to come into this area in order to activate the next plot device, I figured I might as well insert these plugs. So we have the King plug and also, I believe, the Bishop plug to install into this mechanism. And so it tells us we need all of the 4 plugs. We need 2 more, which are actually back in the police station. So we will be heading back into the police station in a little while to pick those up. But first, we need to meet with someone we haven't seen in a little while, although we saw her quite a bit in the last episode, and that is because she is going to allow us to get the last of the station keys.
Ada? I don't think I've introduced myself yet. My name's Leon. I'm with the RPD. It's a dead end.
You think we can get upstairs through this shaft? Give me a boost. I'll go and check.
Interesting way to give a boost there. Hey, it's Sherry.
How cute. That little girl must have dropped this. I think I'll hold on to it for her.
And how is she going to hold on to it? Not in her pocket, but she's going to wear it. And so it's hanging there, of course, on her chest. So if we check out Ada's inventory, she, of course, has a way to defend herself. And she also has a picture of her and her boyfriend, who I believe is named John. So we heard a little bit about John in the first Resident Evil game. And also, I think she talked about him when we first met her. Although I'm not sure if she said him by name or not. So there are some zombies out here, so you want to make sure to use your gun to kill all of them. Although we are never going to be coming back through here. You don't have to kill them, you can just run around them because this is a one-time deal that will be coming through this particular area. But, you know, basically it's worth killing them all so that we save Ada and we don't accidentally die. So we'll put some bullets into them, knock them down. This particular zombie on the ground here is actually faking. It is not actually dead until we shoot it a couple of times. Now it is dead. And then we are going to head into this little area to the right. This is an optional area of the optional area. Although this is not an optional area. We do have to come in here to get the last of the station keys. But at the bottom of this elevator, where Sherry actually came up, we find some shotgun shells as Ada clipped through the elevator there. Wonderful graphics of the PlayStation 1 era. We'll ride the elevator back up to the top level. And then the area we want to go to is the exact same as where Sherry went in Claire's scenario. And that is into this particular room here. We will have to solve the same puzzle, which is a water puzzle. First, we're going to pick up the map here. And so we're going to have to head down into the lower area. And there will be 3 massive crates, of course. So we need to push those crates against the far wall. But we do have to move the middle crate there a little bit because this crate on the left needs to go back against the wall. And the middle crate is actually in the way. So we'll maneuver around them, we'll push them around, we'll get them all into position, and then we will head back up to the top where there was a switch we need to push to actually flood this area with water. Now fortunately, Ada being a woman as opposed to a 10-year-old girl like Sherry, or however old she is in this game, she's a little bit faster, and she doesn't have the stupid climbing animation that'll sometimes glitch out like Sherry does. So this is not quite as tedious as when you do it with Sherry in Claire's scenario. Although it is still essentially a basically useless fetch quest. It's random busy work just to get our last key. Now that the room is filled with water, or at least that part of the room, we can head across our very well-constructed bridge there, and we'll grab the key off of the shelf. So our final station key is the club key. It'll allow us to access 3 particular rooms that are necessary in order to continue with the game. Now, actually, only one of the rooms, I think, is absolutely necessary. The other 2 are optional, but there are some really good items in them. So, of course, we will be going to those rooms, and I'll be showing them off. One of them is the weapon storage, which we also went to with Claire. And the other room is a room with a particular night watchman character.
Leon, can you hear me?
Ada, did you find anything?
Right here. Think fast. Here's one more. Hey, I can't reach the ventilation hole. I'm going to have to find another way around. I'll catch up with you later.
What? Ada, wait!
Leon, come in. I found the girl, and I've cleared the wreckage that was blocking the corridor.
Got it.
So somehow Sherry managed to get entirely from this area way over to the chief's office to encounter Claire in that very short amount of time, in about 5 minutes of game time. She ran all the way across the station and met up with Claire. That is pretty amazing. I guess Sherry is pretty quick. She never showed off those skills when we were controlling her. But of course, once we're not in control, as we run around the spiders, and then this one will come zooming along on the wall. Basically, she is a world-class sprinter, apparently. But unlike Leon's A scenario, we actually get to access the chief's office. Now, there's not a ton in there, but there is a key item we have to pick up in order to advance the plot. So we do have to head to that area. But first, we are going to open up 2 of the rooms that access with the club key, and that is the 2 optional areas. So the first is a weapon storage area, and so we'll be getting to that in a few seconds. But we do need to head through the garage area, and you'll notice we can hear the clomping of dogs. So we will take them out with our handgun. Hopefully they won't take up too many bullets. Remember, dogs in this game do take a large amount of ammo to kill. They can take anywhere from 5 sometimes to 8 or 9 shots each to kill. And I'm not sure if there's some variability indicator with that, like maybe letting them get closer does more damage or whatever, but yeah, lots of ammo needed. And we are almost out of handgun ammo, unfortunately. Now, on the plus side, the weapon storage does actually have some handgun ammo in it, so we'll be able to restock a little bit. And we are getting to a point where we're going to pick up the parts for Leon's gun, which will allow us to actually get a full refill of ammo once we actually combine that with his handgun. So, we are going to access the autopsy room. I was actually a little mistaken there when I said it was the weapon storage. It's actually the autopsy room that allows you to get in with the club key. And as you can hear, there are some liquors in here. So I have my shotgun equipped. One's on the ceiling. So if you go forward a little bit, it'll come down. And there's one around the corner that apparently is not going to go backwards. But it does take about 4 to 5 shots with your shotgun to kill them both. Unless you happen to get both of them at the same time, then you can kill it with 2 or 3. But in this particular room, behind the liquors is the red card key. Now again, this is optional. You do not have to come in here. And that is because the only thing you will get for going into the weapon storage is a couple of useful items, but they are not needed in order to finish the game. That said, I am going to get them because why not, you know? They're very useful, or at least one of them is useful. And that is the side pack. So we'll head down to the other end of the hallway. We'll use our new red keycard on this little keycard reader. And that'll open up the weapon storage. And here there should be some handgun ammo. I think there are also some magnum rounds as well. So that must be this first particular shiny. So that's pretty sweet. We'll save those for later. And then of course in the far cabinet is the side pack and also the submachine gun. Now, if you remember, in Claire's A scenario, we also had the option of picking up either of these items, or actually both of the items, and I left them both for Leon, because generally the B scenario is a little bit more difficult. And that is because you have to take on Mr. X. Now, I am not actually killing Mr. X each time that I encounter him. If you do that, you'll get items. Usually it's ammo, but sometimes it's other stuff as well. And so they do give you items like this, and if you are planning on killing Mr. X each time you encounter him, and spoiler alert, we will encounter him again. We have not seen the last of him. You'll notice the 2 extra spots there in my item storage now, thanks to the side pack. Very useful. The submachine gun, though, is very helpful. So now we're going to head back into the police station. We're going to open up the second of the optional doors with the club key. And that is the little room here at the end of the hall. The last room that you use with the club key is actually needed. There's a necessary item in that room. And I'll be getting to that in a few minutes. But in the meantime, we're going to go into this particular room. There are some ink ribbons for us to pick up. In this locker, there are some shotgun shells. And then around the corner, near the cots, there is the Watchman and also some Magnum rounds. So I did go through the Watchman's diary during Claire's scenario, so if you'd like to read it, I will leave a little bit of a time for each particular page. You can pause and read it again if you want. Otherwise, of course, you can also check out Claire's A scenario. So we'll quickly go through this. Basically, it just says he's been meeting with a guy. The guy's been getting worse and worse, even though they've been playing chess together. And the guy is actually the one, not the guard there, but the guy he was meeting with is the one who came up with the lock system using the chess pieces. Trying to add some, I don't know, logic behind why you have to collect these stupid plugs. It's still stupid. Now, normally I would go and get the required item in the last of the club rooms, and to get to that, you can head straight through here and continue down that hallway to the right, where we met up with the liquor before and got one of the other plugs in the interrogation room. But since we do have to head to the police chief's office, I might as well get that out of the way. And so I'm going to head upstairs using this particular little shortcut. And since we cleared out all of the enemies previously, we don't have to deal with anything on the way. Although I've never actually gone down this hallway again, so I'm not sure if the crows are still there. I would assume so. But we're not going to find out. It's not worth it to go look. But Claire radioed us to indicate she had cleared out the wreckage of the helicopter, and so we can now access the police chief's office. It is exactly the same as in Claire's scenario, except we cannot get into the little cubby area that goes down into the sewers that is behind his desk, because we do not have the stones or crests or whatever they are that she uses to open up that secret door. But we can access his diary, because apparently she didn't take it in this version of the game. even though I did take it in the A scenario. So again, I left it there for a little bit of time, so if you want to read the diary again, you can, of course, pause on each of the pages. It basically says he's skeezy, right? He's been working with Umbrella the whole time, sabotaging the police officers' efforts to sort of stop the zombie apocalypse from occurring. And he's also been killing people, kind of for sport. And he's into taxidermy, and that also includes stuffing people. So we have one more diary here, the secretary's diary. She basically says the chief is a freak. And the real thing we need in this area is in the chest down here, and that is the crank. So now we have the square crank that'll allow us to access the stairs in the upper area of the police station, and that is to get the final of the plugs. So we will head back. And unfortunately, once we exit this room, we will have our next encounter with Mr. X, as you can hear the music change and the stomping. So I will run into him and take the hit, and then run past him as he does his stupid little Polish hammer move over his head. Unfortunately, he will not follow us out of this room. At least, I don't think so. But even if he did, there is a table here in the middle of the room that would protect us. I did take some damage there. I'm getting somewhat low. I think I'm on caution. I do have to do some item management before we head down and get the last of the necessary items to get the final plugs. So what I will do is head into this save room up here, switch my items around, and meet you back here in a second. Alright, so I have swapped out some stuff, I've healed, and we are ready to continue onward. So we're going to head back down the fire escape outside that we used to get back up here, and we're going to go back down and get that last required item. So this is in the meeting room. It's not really a meeting room, it's the press room, I guess, where the chief probably gave press conferences. And from Claire's scenario, it's exactly the same. We have to do a little puzzle in order to access the golden cog. So we're going to have to run all the way back there. Pretty easy. There's nothing in the way because we killed everything. Although that zombie is still hanging out on the floor. He'll be there for the rest of the game because we're not taking him out. And therefore the janitor, the mysterious janitor that cleans everything up after us, he is not ever going to remove that body. But let's head into this particular hallway. It'll be the last of the club key doors, and then we can discard that key from our inventory. And it'll be the last required item to get the final of the plugs. So come all the way down to the end, use the club key, and let's head into the press room. So I mentioned the puzzle. So we did this as Claire. We have to do it again as Leon. The solution to the puzzle is on the painting back here. So it says there's a man in a carriage. We want the wheel. We have to light the queen, the king, and the jack. So if you think about in poker or cards, there are some numbers on these particular little lamps back here. So first we have to light the furnace. And then the numbers are 11, 12, and 13. So after picking up this first aid spray that's hidden behind the desk, you want to light the middle one, which is 12. That symbolizes the queen. Then we'll light the far right one, which is 13, which symbolizes the king. And then we will light the far left one, which is 11, and that symbolizes the jack. And it'll cause the cog to fall out of the painting and Mr. X to come busting through the wall. Unfortunately, the desk is there, so that'll stop him. So we don't have to worry about him too much. And then he will be trapped in this room forever, or at least until we meet him again. So now, what I'm going to do to finish up this episode is off camera, I'm going to head all the way back to the entrance area. I'm going to redo some inventory stuff, and in my next episode, we are going to go after the last of the 2 plugs and head back to the plug door. Okay, I guess he's not going to come out of there. Oh, he's going to come from there. So, thanks for watching, viewers, and I will see you all next time. So long.